Hi, Donald here with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School and Crescent Kayaks. And I'm standing here with the CK1 Venture from Crescent Kayaks. And I'm about to do an install video on the deck pad kit. Now, this video is specific to the CK1 Venture from Crescent Kayaks because it is that kayak and it is that kit. However, all the basic stuff, all the basic principles or technique to apply deck pad kits is going to be kind of universal or general for any kayaks and any deck pad kits out there. So the first thing you want to do is clean your kayak, right? And I've talked about this before, but we use 100% pure acetone. This is the best thing. This is better than rubbing alcohol. This is better than denatured alcohol. 100% pure acetone is the best thing you can use. It actually helps clean the surface. Excuse me. And it dries and evaporates really quick. You can never use too much of this. It will evaporate, just ventilated area, if you will, no smoking, things like that. You can use too little. So I just kind of pour it a little bit and then wipe everything off. And I've already cleaned this, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do it again, just because. So we're gonna clean everywhere that these pads are gonna touch and adhere to. And I've actually got the front tank well pads as well, so I'm going to clean it all up in here. Like I said, if you get a little too much, it's just going to take a little more time for it to evaporate, but it will evaporate. Best thing you can do is just clean it as well as you possibly can. So that's pretty good. We've got everything clean. I'm just going to set this off to the side over there. Next thing you want to do is lay out your pads so you know exactly where they go. I'm going to start back here to the tank well. So we know that this one goes on this side, all right? And this one goes over here. Now, look, I'm not sticking anything yet. I'm just laying them out so I know exactly where they go. These two go up front. And if you get the kit from Crescent Kayaks for the CK1, comes in a bag. They're stacked in a certain order. The two small circles, they go where the drink holders are, so those are actually pretty easy. I'm just gonna set those off to the side for a moment. The deck pad that comes up through here and your stash pocket right here. Two stash pockets are pretty simple to figure out. They just go right there. The ones that come in the kit are actually arranged so that you can put these exactly where they need to go. I'm gonna alternate, right side, left side, right side, left side. The one with the CK1 in it goes in the third position on the right. And then you just lay them out just like that. So that's the way it's going to look. Okay, so that is our look. Next thing you're gonna need is a hair dryer or a heat gun. I've been using a hair dryer for about 8 to 10 years now. As a matter of fact, it's the same hair dryer I've been using for the last 8 to 10 years. It's not super powerful. It's only 1,875 watts. What we want to do is heat up the back of the pad so that it activates that glue or that adhesive just a little bit more. If your kayak or air temperature or surface of the kayak temperature is under 70 degrees, you can heat the kayak as well. If it's above 70, usually the kayak's going to be warm enough that it will adhere to that glue. The key trick is heating the glue on the back of that pad so that it gets really tacky. If the longer you heat it, it may get a slight white glaze to it, and that's great. That's the ideal look you want, just a slight white glaze. So when you stick it down, that glue is warm, it activates all the adhesives, and it sticks extremely, extremely well. One word of caution is when you do this, make sure that you do it slowly and you do one pad at a time. If you try to go too fast and you have this adhesive, especially on these pads from Crescent Kayaks, they actually use a 3000L SE from 3M. That is an extremely good adhesive and they stick. So once they're stuck, they're stuck. You're gonna have to use a technique to get them off, and I'll go over that in just a moment. So you need a hair dryer, you need 100% acetone, and you need something smooth. Now, you can get a roller like an ink roller that doesn't have an ink on it, obviously, a paint roller with a hard brush on it. You can get a roll of duct tape or rock. I actually have this pretty cool smooth rock I got from a friend, and I'll use this to smooth out those pads. So it gives me a nice even amount of pressure all the way across. So as I start to put the pad in place, I will just rub from center to out, from center out, all the way until that pad is stuck where I need it to be stuck. That is pretty much it. Now, some kayaks will have pads in the back, and this kayak actually had pads in the back, and I took them out by heating that up with the same hair dryer here, heating up for about 10 minutes on each side, just get it nice and warm. I put a little acetone on a plastic putty knife, and I got one corner up, and as I just let the dryer go where I'm going. So as I start to pull up, I just let it heat a little bit. I take that plastic putty knife and just popped it right off of one sheet. Just looks just like this. Unfortunately, I dropped it on the floor and it is stuck. So I will get that off in some time. But right now, I wanted to make this video. So I'm going to do the first one up here where you guys can see this a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is kind of jump into a kind of a fast forward thing. So you don't have to sit here for, I don't know, probably an hour or whatever it's going to take for me to do all this. So first thing, I know that this pad goes here. I'm going to turn on this hair dryer and heat this up. And you see this, it's very reflective, right? I mean, you can, there's no white film or nothing, but we're just going to heat this a little bit. It won't take but a few moments per piece of pad here. Now, if you're using a heat gun, you got to remember that's going to get pretty hot, so you may want to wear gloves. The hair dryer really doesn't get all that hot. But if you're sensitive to heat or you don't want to take the chance of getting your hands hot or burning yourself, by all means wear a pair of gloves. Now, if you start to see, you see that white kind of sheen. Hopefully you can see that in the camera. But from my point of view, and it may be difficult to pick up in the camera, but there is a white haze that's kind of like a glaze over that adhesive on this pad. So it doesn't last very long. So now that it is there, I'm going to line this up as carefully as I can. Slowly take my rock, make sure that's where I want it, and it's not where I want it. I got about 10 seconds to try to get that, and I had it backwards, and that always makes a great deal of discomfort. Come on. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to heat this up again as I smooth it out. Okay, so I'm going to get the rest of this. We're going to go to a fast forward kind of thing. Okay, so this is the CK1 Venture. These are the rear tank well pads. I'm gonna zoom out here just a little bit. So that is the pads installed. Looking forward. Got the CK1. Got the front tank well, looking really good with this dart green, and the teak deck pads. I think that's a really good look. Really nice look. So pause this a minute and I'll turn the camera back around. All right, so that was how to install deck pad kits, specifically on the CK1 Venture from Crescent Kayaks, but really basically for any pad kit, deck pad kit that you want to install in any kayak. You're going to need 100% acetone, a rag, some type of smoothing apparatus or tool like a roller, ink roller. Like I was using a nice rounded rock that has a couple flat sides that makes it really easy, or something simple like a roll of duct tape. Works really, really well. You have to apply some firm pressure and a hair dryer. That's really all you need. Hair dryer, acetone, rag, and some type of tool to smooth it out. Now, if you happen to put a pad on and it comes off at some point, sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you didn't quite get the surface cleaned enough, or something gets pried up underneath, you're tossing around boats, you know, things like that, and a pad happens to come off. There's a product by 3M, and it's called Super 77. It's one of the best adhesives that you can get. I've had to take pads off, re-put pads on, things like that throughout the years. It just, I mean, stuff happens, right? You cut a deck pad, you have these teak ones on here, and you decide you want to get charcoal, or they come out with red ones or purple ones or whatever color, right? You want to change pads. Okay, so take your hair dryer, heat it up, heat the pad up, take a plastic putty knife or something, try to get a corner up, take your, as you peel up, keep the heat applied with the hair dryer. And then if you want to reapply it, or if you just want to move it to a different boat or something like that, Super 77 from 3M, it's a spray adhesive. It sprays pretty wide, so I always put it like over a paper towel or something like that. Spray the pad, not the kayak. It's much easier to spray it on the pad and have overspray on a paper towel than it is to have overspray all over the kayak, because it is very tacky. So that is a little tip for future stuff. But that is it for this video. I appreciate you all watching. Watch for our tips and tricks coming out every Tuesday on the channel here. And if you would, I'd really appreciate if you haven't already, subscribe below and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Thank you all for watching.